Mr. President, if House Republicans don't think they need us when writing a bill, why should they expect us to support that bill? Especially when it comes to taking funding away from our families who depend on it and hurt our communities and give away Congress's power over key funding decisions. Instead of working with Democrats to invest in working people all across our country and make sure our constituents have their voices heard in government funding, Speaker Johnson abandoned talks and rolled out a bill that includes major cuts. It cuts non-defense discretionary funding by $15 billion in total in 2025 and hands a blank check to Trump and Elon Musk to pick winners and losers and steal from our constituents. Make no mistake, the entire bill the House is voting on today is House Republicans' own doing, and it is a dumpster fire. So I'm here to sound the alarm about that fire before it spreads. But first, I need everyone to understand, the choice is not dumpster fire or shutdown. I should know. I introduced another option yesterday. It's a short-term CR that would give us the time to finish doing our job and negotiate bipartisan full-year bills. There's no reason we cannot do that, and there is every reason that every single one of us should prefer actual bills that we write to help people over the bill that just empowers two billionaires who are running our government into the ground and our economy into a recession. I really want to make sure all of my colleagues understand how bad this bill is. So if anyone thinks this bill from House Republicans is going to avoid chaos or avoid pain for our country, listen up, because it is only going to add to the chaos. This is not a, quote, clean CR, as some Republicans claim. It cuts programs our communities rely on. And that includes a major 44% cut to Army Corps projects that help mitigate against floods and hurricanes and much else. It cuts medical research into diseases and conditions affecting service members and their families by more than $1 billion. That is over 40%. It leaves a massive $280 million shortfall in NIH's budget, and that is a big cut to research that saves lives. It leaves a shortfall for housing programs. We're talking about 32,000 fewer vouchers. And that, Mr. President, is just scratching the surface. It also completely lacks the basic guardrails we include in all of our funding bills on a bipartisan basis each and every year to make sure that our states and our communities are taken care of and not just subject to the whims of Trump administration or any administration to pick winners and losers. House Republicans are not trying to responsibly fund the government. They are trying to turn it into a slush fund for Trump and Musk to wield as they see fit so that they can shift their focus entirely to tax cuts for billionaires. Right now, we, Congress, have the power of the purse. We have that power to fight for our states, to fight for our families, to bring federal dollars back home and build bridges and feed families and care for veterans and fight for fentanyl, whatever our communities tell us they need. We should not cede that power with this bill. That is really worth sitting with for a minute. We all chose to be here in Congress. We chose to take on this role so we could advocate for causes and communities that we care about and work in a bipartisan manner to reach compromise to make sure that our causes and our communities get the support they need. House Republicans' full-year CR would instead pass the buck to Elon Musk and unelected political appointees to decide who gets funded and who doesn't. Is that not why each and every one of us was actually elected? To fight for our states and to fight for our communities as the people who know them best? I certainly know that's true for me. I've worked for years with colleagues on both sides of the aisle to make sure that people back home who trusted us when we said we'd fight for them always know Congress has their back. So really think about that before you vote to make your voice mean less for the rest of this fiscal year. because it is terrifying to think of what unelected political appointees would do. We've already gotten an alarming preview of how Trump will threaten to cut off states and cities that might disagree with him. And Elon will totally warp the government to benefit his companies and hurt his competitors. I have to say, our bipartisan appropriations process is not always easy, but it is a heck of a lot better than handing over our decision-making to this or to any administration. Voting against this bill is about standing for communities and families who actually rely on the funding. And for our ability, Mr. President, every one of us, for our ability to be a voice for our constituents in Congress. Because what is going to happen when perhaps medical research funding gets sucked away from cancer and Alzheimer's, all because a scientist somewhere worked previously and said that vaccines are safe, and all of a sudden his funding's gone? What happens when you can't get a bridge replaced because the political appointees at DOT don't like the policies your mayor is advocating for? What happens when they reduce staffing at national parks in your backyard because your governor won't deny climate change? The bipartisan directives Congress provides each year with our funding bills, help guard against that kind of thing for any administration. And all of that is missing from this disastrous slush fund CR. Through bipartisan compromise, we make sure our communities have a voice at the table. Our taxpayer dollars have a return on their taxes. We should reject this bill. We should pass a short-term CR to avoid a shutdown. And then, Mr. President, we should do our job and work on full year spending bills like we were sent here to do. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.